Diamond edition worth $100,000. Count Andy Faber-Castell is the managing director. He's an 8th generation member of the family. He believes that handwriting is vital for memory and brain functions, and I'm pleased to say Count Andy is on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Stuart.
Were they kidding me when they said to me we were speaking to you from Pennsylvania?
Yes, from Pennsylvania. Yes, my wife is from here.
I see. Well, how appropriate that she should marry a member of the Faber-Castell family.
Yes, it's quite amazing.
Tell me this pen of the year, the Diamond edition, worth $100,000. What's it all about?
Look, it's an extension of our normal pen of the year, which we produce now every year, and we call it the pen of the year because it's done and made with precious metal, precious wood, or whatever is possible. We had an amber pen, we had a tiger wood pen, we had a jade pen, and they have become very, very popular. And for the Queen's birthday, we made a special edition, which was, of course, a diamond-studded solid gold pen of the year. The ingredient of the pen is made out of oak, moss oak. Moss oak is wood that is 1,700 or 1,800 years under moss and then dug out, so it's fairly brittle, but has a beautiful, magnificent texture.
It's an incredible thing. I mean, you look at some of these luxury items like pens and watches, even in difficult financial times, clearly for some who are collectors and enjoy these types of things, there's still very much a demand for this sort of product.
No, there's a very surprisingly big demand for this product.
Is that right? So, I mean, roughly speaking, you look at your pen of the year, this Diamond edition, how many of those might you sell?
No, on the Diamond edition 10 only. On the normal pen of the year, about 2,000 to 2,200.
Right, really, yeah. And I mean, you look at this, the idea that handwriting important for memory and brain development. These days, we've got a lot of people going through university, and basically the only time they put pen to paper is when they sit an exam.
Yeah, that's a pity in one way, because research has shown that if you write something down, there is some kind of a magic or electricity between your hand and your brain that your retention is far higher, up to 80% higher.
Right.
And that is, of course, a very vital argument that you actually should use a pencil or a pen in order to take notes. Even for journalists, you see the journalists who just take a tape, the article comes out differently. The ones who take notes are far more precise and also have much more control of their material.
It's a good point you make. I remember going through university when I was studying. You'd go back through your notes, and often I would sort of paraphrase and make the notes. This was before computers really took off. They were around, but not like they are today. And I would always make notes by hand, and I think you're right. It was a better way of reinforcing what you were actually doing and learning, all that sort of thing. It did help with memory retention.
Oh, absolutely correct. And I think research also, medical research, has proven that. Writing is even very, very encouraging to be used for people who start having dementia or brain problems.
Right.
Because, again, that magic electricity just seems to invigorate the brain again.
Yeah,
so,
and of course,
we're working for a good cause.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, well, that's quite right. I mean, the other thing is, of course, as well, whether you're drawing or you're painting or writing, all of those things effectively achieve the same sort of a goal, don't they?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I mean, if you look at the computer world nowadays, and a lot of people ask me a lot of times, but you're in an old industry, and eventually we'll have the paperless office, and we're not going to draw, we're going to do everything on computers. Yes, you can play tennis on a computer. Yes, you can play soccer on a computer. You can do lots of things. But the real thing is to have a piece of paper for a little child and it can draw. That's something entirely different again. I have nothing against computer games. I mean, my kids also played with them.
Right.
But it's important that you also experience the real thing. And that is the magic between your hand and your brain and doing something you're really pleased with.
Yeah, I think it is very important. What do you think it is? I mean, I mentioned earlier on Faber-Castell, it stood the test of time, 250 years. What's been the key to the company evolving and keeping up with changes as they come along?
there's been many changes, and some of them, of course, fairly difficult. My father, for example, he had the biggest slide rule factory in the world.
Right.
That was the predecessor of the calculator. He's still trying to find the idiot that invented the calculator. Within 9 months.
I did have a slide rule many years ago, sometime after the abacus, Andy.
Yeah, I know. And, but within 9 months, that product died. But again, it was a special purpose product, whereas color pencils and drawing have a wide variety of uses. I mean, you can send a Christmas card by email, but you know that if someone sends you a Christmas card and he signed it, he actually thought of you.
Mm. No, that's right. I always marvel at people. My handwriting's not the best. I do my best. I'm left-handed, so I'll use that as my excuse. But I do marvel at very nicely crafted wording and lettering that people can do by hand, because it does add a certain something, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, and, look, I'm left-handed too, but I went to a Swiss school. They put my left hand behind, or bound my left hand behind my back, and I had to use my right hand.
I went to a school in Sydney.
I do everything there. So I write with my right hand, but everything else I do with my left hand.
Isn't that funny? Well, see, I basically, anything that involves the one hand, I will do with my left hand. But say it's holding a golf club or a cricket bat or something like that, I'm right-handed for those sports.
Yeah, that's training.
So it wasn't enough training. I'm not good enough at any of those sports, but it is interesting. Well, look, it's nice to be able to chat with you, because it is incredible the way the business has continued on. And when you talk about how crucial that handwriting is for memory and brain functions, and your pen of the year, the Diamond Edition, worth $100,000, it is something. It's great to chat with you.
No, thank you.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Look after yourself. Thank you very much, Count Andy Faber-Castell, the Managing Director of Faber-Castell, an 8th generation family member, and the company continues to go on a lot.